I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're going to break an exhausting cycle that so many of us are trapped in. You know the drill. Every spring, millions of gardeners do the exact same thing. We drive to the garden center, fill our trolleys, and spend 50, maybe 100 pounds or dollars, only to get home with sore knees and an aching back. And then we watch half of those plants die 6 months later, knowing we're going to have to spend that exact same money all over again next year. Well, today, that expensive, frustrating cycle ends permanently.
There is really a massive contrast between that traditional approach and what I like to call the lazy gardener approach. You literally never have to participate in that expensive cycle again, because there's this incredible category of plants that actually give back. You plant them once, they multiply on their own, and your garden fills with beautiful, completely free plants for the rest of your life. Today, I'm sharing 9 of the absolute best self-spreading perennials for any UK or USA garden. And listen, I want you to pay close attention because the 9th and final plant on today's list is so unstoppable that once you plant it, it produces enough free divisions to fill an entire garden in just 3 years. Honestly, most gardeners end up giving literal bags of it away to their neighbors.
All right, so what exactly makes a perennial truly lazy? It basically comes down to 3 simple rules. First, it comes back every single year without you having to replant it. Second, it spreads entirely on its own, whether that's by runners, seeds, or divisions. And third, and honestly this is the most important one, it stays controllable. You see, these plants are a generous investment, not some invasive weed problem. They give you free plants year after year, and they stop exactly when you ask them to. Section 1. Shade and ground cover. We're starting with those tough, resilient perennials, perfect for the shady, hard-to-fill corners of your yard.
First up are hostas, absolutely the most reliable spreaders for the shade. Gardeners love them for their magnificent architectural leaves that come in these gorgeous deep greens, blue-grays, and golden yellows. And the best part? They thrive in deep shade where almost nothing else will even try to grow. They spread by producing little offshoots around the base of the parent plant. To harvest your free plants, you just wait for early spring when the new shoots are just poking out of the soil. They actually look exactly like fat, pointed little fingers. You just take a sharp spade, slice right through the root clump, and lift the outer sections. And there you have it. Each section becomes a brand new plant. It's a wonderfully simple method that makes hostas one of the most reliable investments for absolutely any garden.
Next, we've got hardy geraniums, specifically varieties like the magnificent violet-blue Roseanne. These are just incredibly hardworking plants. They flower for months on end and completely smother weeds with their dense foliage. Plus, they are incredibly generous, spreading through both prolific self-seeding and these neat little underground runners. Harvesting them is literally as easy as digging up any self-seeded plant you find and popping it wherever you want. Oh, and here's a surprising tip for you. Cut them back hard, like right down near the ground in midsummer. I know, it sounds totally brutal, but they will bounce right back with fresh foliage and beautiful autumn flowers. They really are hardworking and endlessly rewarding.
Our third plant is a juga, or bugle. Now this one brilliantly illustrates a specific type of spreading using stolons. Basically, stolons are horizontal stems that grow right along the soil surface, dropping a brand new rooted plant at every single node. A single ajuga plant will literally give you 10 to 15 free bronze-purple clones in its very first year. You just snip the runner, lift the new plant, and move it anywhere you need ground cover. It grows beautifully in the shade and pushes out these vivid blue flowers in spring that serve as a fantastic early food source for bees. It's just an absolutely superb plant to have around.
And hey, just a quick reminder, the absolute most unstoppable free plant on our list is still waiting for you right at the end, so definitely stick with me.
Section 2. The prolific self-seeders. These are stunning perennials that drop their own seeds to naturally and beautifully multiply right across your borders.
Plant number 4 is Echinacea, the coneflower. Gardeners absolutely adore these for their spectacular daisy-like flowers that bloom all summer long in sunny borders. They spread by prolifically self-seeding, naturally turning a single plant into this massive, gorgeous drift over just a few years. Now, to get these free plants, you have to resist the urge to cut them back in autumn. Leave those distinctive spiky seed cones standing right through the winter. Not only do they provide extraordinary food for goldfinches, but those dropped seeds will emerge as completely free seedlings in the spring. You just thin them out slightly if they get too crowded. They are drought-tolerant, wonderfully resilient, and utterly breathtaking.
Next is Astrantia, a true, elegant cottage garden classic.
These plants produce the most intricate star-shaped blooms that seriously look like they belong in a high-end florist arrangement. And let me tell you, bees absolutely flock to them. Astrantia spreads by self-seeding incredibly easily, especially if you plant it in moist, partially shaded conditions. To harvest, simply leave the late summer blooms intact so they can set seed. Then, the following spring, you just look for their distinctive divided leaves, dig up the small seedlings, and transplant them wherever you'd like. It's a remarkably beautiful process that yields gorgeous results.
Plant number 6 is Alchemilla mollis, also known as lady's mantle. This plant produces a soft, frothy cloud of lime green flowers, but the real magic is actually in its scalloped leaves. After a rain, they collect these little water droplets that look exactly like scattered mercury. It is a genuinely magical effect. It spreads by charmingly self-seeding into basically every paving crack and border edge it can find, stubbornly proving that nature always wins. To manage it, you simply transplant the small seedlings you actually want, and for the main plant, just cut it down to ground level after flowering to control its spread. It'll bounce back with lovely fresh foliage in just a matter of weeks.
Don't forget, the absolute most generous and unstoppable free plant is coming up next in our final group.
Section 3, the unstoppable multipliers. These are the heavy hitters that multiply dramatically underground, filling large spaces with incredible speed.
Plant number 7 is Persicaria. Let me be clear, this is the fastest spreading perennial on our list today. It spreads via vigorous underground runners, forming a really dense, colorful mat incredibly quickly. If you want to double your ground cover, all you do is dig up the outer runners in spring, cut them into sections, making sure each one has a little growth bud, and replant them. They establish so rapidly. What's truly wonderful about Persicaria is its surprisingly long flowering season. I mean, it pushes out these beautiful pink and red flower spikes right up until the very first frost.
Now let's look at Crocosmia. To understand how this beauty spreads, we need to talk about corms. Corms are small, underground, bulb-like structures, and every single year, they multiply prolifically into chains, pushing outward beneath the soil. This invisible underground multiplication is what fuels the growth of tall, arching stems bursting with vivid orange and red trumpet flowers every midsummer. And by the way, hummingbirds and long-tongued bees find those flowers absolutely irresistible.
To harvest your free Crocosmia plants, just dig up the clump in early spring before the new growth really begins. You separate those chains of corms and simply replant them. For the absolute most dramatic visual impact, you want to plant them in bold groups of 7 to 9 corms. And amazingly, each separated corm will flower in its very first year. Now, we have finally arrived. The single most generous, absolutely most unstoppable plant on our entire list is up next.
100. That is the magic number you need to remember right now. Because if you take just 10 simple divisions of this next plant, they will turn into 100 fully productive plants the very next year. It is without a doubt the absolute most productive free plant available to any gardener out there.
And that plant is comfrey. Comfrey is just astonishing. It will spread from literally any tiny root fragment left in the soil. But here's the thing, it is a massive gift to your garden. Its deep roots actually mine minerals from the subsoil, creating nutrient-rich leaves that you can chop and drop as completely free fertilizer. Plus, it feeds the bees continuously with its beautiful purple flowers. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is this. I highly recommend planting the sterile Bocking 14 variety. It gives you all the incredible benefits, but only spreads when you deliberately divide the roots, giving you ultimate control over the whole shebang. Seriously, plant comfrey just once in a neglected corner of your yard, and I promise you your garden will never be the same again. It gets more and more generous every single year. Now, a question I hear all the time is, but how do I stop them spreading too far? Look, it's totally natural to feel a bit of anxiety about plants taking over your space. But I really want to assure you, this spreading is a financial gift, not a burden, especially when you manage it correctly.
The solution is just 30 minutes of simple management. That's it. Walk your garden for half an hour each spring. At this time of year, the soil is nice and soft, and any stray plants are still small. You just lift the small, unwanted plants right out of the soft soil. And please remember, these are valuable. Pot them up, share them with your neighbors, or even sell them at a local plant swap. You aren't weeding, you are harvesting free inventory.
So there you have it, a permanent end to the exhausting cycle of buying plants every single year. If this explainer saved you a bit of money today, please hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on more practical garden knowledge. But I want to leave you with a quick question to think about. Are you cultivating a garden? Or is your garden finally cultivating you? When you plant the right perennials, Mother Nature does all the heavy financial lifting. Leave a comment below which of these self-spreading plants are you trusting to do the work for you next year. I read every single comment. Happy free gardening, and take very good care.